Hello everyone. Today we are going to read our 8th chapter Rural Livelihoods. Occupation wise, people may be divided into three groups: those engaged in primary occupations, agriculture, mining, and quarrying, in secondary occupations, manufacturing, and in tertiary occupations, services, trade and commerce, banking, and insurance. People who are engaged in primary occupations will be discussed in this chapter and the rest in the next chapter. We'll find out the different ways in which people earn their living in villages today. Dumri, a village. Dumri is a village in Bihar. There are different ways in which people earn their living here. Some villagers work in farms, others are engaged in masonry, pottery, brickmaking, basket making, and carpentry. Some people, such as teachers, washermen, barbers, and cycle repair mechanics, provide services. There are some shopkeepers also. There are a few small pakka shops on the main street which sell sweets, meat, fish, eggs, utensils, bangles, groceries, medicines, cloth, fertilizers, and seeds. There are two tea shops that sell samosas and jalebis. Next to these shops lives a carpenter's family whose home serves as a workshop. They use sesame wood and wood from mango trees for making furniture such as chairs and beds. A few steps away, the potter Kumhar also works from his home. He makes pots of various sizes and shapes from clay. He also makes small tiles which are used to build roofs. The person who helps the villagers cross the river is called a malla. His name is Pattu. He also catches fish from the river. Other ways of traveling in this village are by rickshaw or horse cart. Rickshaw pullers and horse cart drivers take people to the nearest city and the railway station. The village is surrounded by fields of wheat, rice, sugarcane, and corn. Chana and dal are also grown. Vegetables such as potatoes, brinjals, tomatoes, and onions are grown. Flowers such as marigolds and roses are grown all over the village. They are sold in the cities. Most families earn a living through agriculture. Some people go to the nearby town to work as construction workers and lorry drivers. The story of Sugna. I am Sugna. I, along with Dev Kumari, Munni, Shanti, and others, work on Kashinath's land. He has 20 acres of land in Dumri. On this, he grows rice. Before I was married, I used to work in the sugarcane fields. I work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I do not have regular work throughout the year. Whenever there is work, Kashinath calls me. Kashinath pays rupees 100 per day to males and rupees 50 per day to females. We have to transplant paddy. After the plants have grown a bit, we have to do the weeding and later the harvesting. Bajju is another rich farmer who gets cheap labor from other villages. We work on the farms. We are called koiris. My husband's name is Lalan. He does not own my land. He prepares the fields with hoe, plows the land, waters and manures it. He also sprinkles pesticides. When there is no work on the farm, he has to find other work like making bricks, carrying bricks, building roads and houses. Apart from working on the land, I also work at home. I cook food for my family, clean the house, and wash clothes. I also go with other women to collect firewood. We fetch water from the village well. There are 15 wells in the village. Some rich people have hand pumps in their houses. My husband gets the grocery from for the house. We have a son and a daughter. They go to school and also help me with the household work. Sometimes they help in the fields. They also help in weeding the grass. They look after the cattle. Sometimes we prepare jaggery at home and sell it in the Dumri market to earn extra money. Last year, my daughter fell ill. There is a small dispensary in the village which has a doctor and two nurses. Since we could not meet the expenses of the dispensary, we had to borrow money from Kashinath for her treatment. As you saw in Sugna's case, poor families in rural areas spend a lot of time every day collecting firewood, getting water, grazing their cattle, cooking, and cleaning. Nearly two-fifths of all rural families in our country are agricultural laborers. There are some who have small plots of land, while others, such as Sugna and Lalan, are landless. Not being able to earn money throughout the year forces people to migrate to other areas in search of work. Migration takes place during particular season. Chotak. I own a small piece of land, only 2 bighas. My family does all the work in the fields. During the harvest season, I take the help of other small farmers and in turn I help them to harvest their fields. I have taken a loan from Vishnu for buying seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides. Vishnu is a trader from Delhi. I have to pay interest on this loan. To pay back this loan, I give him wheat at a lower price. I will probably get 15 bags of wheat this year from my field. I will sell 10 bags to settle the loan while 5 bags will be used at home. This will not be enough. So I will have to work in Kashinath's rice mill, which is a few miles from Dumri. We also have 2 cows. We sell their milk to the local milk cooperative. This brings us extra money to meet our needs. In debt. Many times, small farmers such as Chotak have to borrow money to purchase seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides. Often, they borrow this money from rich farmers, shopkeepers, traders, or money lenders. Crops are sometimes ruined because either the seeds are not of good quality or pests attack them. Crops can also fail if the monsoon is not good. In such a situation, farmers are unable to pay back their loan. Sometimes, to survive, they may have to borrow more money, making it impossible for them to return it. In some areas, farmers have committed suicide because of this. Farmers also take loans when there is a marriage in the family. At times, they have to sell or mortgage their small lands in order to repay the loan, turning them into landless farmers. Kashinath and Vishnu. In addition to land, Kashinath's family owns a rice mill and a cloth shop. He buys rice from Dumri and the surrounding villages. They earn a lot of money from this. For running the rice mill, they use some of their own money and borrow some from a government bank. Vishnu is a big farmer who owns a lot of land on which he grows sugarcane. Mill owners and traders buy sugarcane from him for use in sugar mills. Traders come from cities such as Delhi and Mumbai to buy truckloads of wheat and rice. Sadanand. His house is near the sea. They have small boats. Some of them are owned by the fishermen while others are on hire. Some boats have engines fitted to them so these can go far out to sea for a bigger catch. Sadanand leaves home very early in the morning with the others. By 7 a.m., he comes back with his catch. Some of the fish caught is kept aside for the family to consume. The rest is auctioned to women who come from nearby villages. Traders also buy fish to sell in the towns. Some of the money obtained by selling fish is kept away for repairing the boat and buying equipments. In the evening, the nets are untangled and repaired. Nilami and Sadanand have a difficult time during the monsoon. For about 4 months, Sadanand does not go fishing because it is breeding time for the fishes. They earn money by making baskets. Recently, he took a loan from the bank for buying a bigger boat. Agricultural laborers and farmers in India. In Dumri, there are agricultural laborers like Subna, many small farmers like Chotak, and a few big farmers like Kashinath. In India, about 2 out of every 5 rural families are agricultural laborers. They work on the fields of other people. They are either landless or own very little land. Chotak's land is not enough to meet his needs. In India, 80% of the farmers are like him. Only 20% of India's farmers are like Kashinath. These big farmers own most of the land in the villages. A large part of what is produced is sold in the market. Many big farmers are also engaged in other businesses. Apart from farming, many people in rural areas depend upon poultry farming, animal husbandry, dairy production, fishing, and collection from the forest. Collecting mahua, tendu leaves, and honey and selling it to traders is an important source of income for them. Types of farmers. In India, the three agricultural classes are of the landowners, the tenants, and the laborers. The fourth class is of non agriculturists. Commodities are sold to the traders in the village itself. Agricultural produce in the mandis markets is largely marketed through private intermediaries who control both credit as well as distribution of the produce. Landlords or maliks owners are of two types. Absentee landlords who stay in cities and towns, and those who reside in the village in which they own land. The Malik derives his agricultural income primarily from property rights. He gets a share of the produce of the land that he owns in cash as well as in kind. He may give his land either to a tenant or may cultivate it by hiring laborers. He may manage the hired laborers himself or through a manager. Kisans or farmers may be small landowners or tenants. The difference between the Malik and the small Kisan is the size of the land owned by them. The Kisan himself and one or more members of his family actually work in the fields. Sometimes the income of the Kisan is so little that he and his family members work as agricultural laborers. Mazdoors are those landless villagers who earn their livelihood primarily from working on other people's land. They receive wages in cash or kind. A new power structure has emerged in villages. The power holders may be classified into four groups: those who have power based on the ownership and control of land, those who have power based on their caste, those who have power based on numerical strength, and those who have power because of the positions they hold in panchayats or other local bodies. So, this was our chapter Rural Livelihood. If you have any doubt or query, you can ask me in the comment box below, and if you want the links to the other chapters, you can find them in the description box below. Thank you, everyone.